The initial encounter with the black-eyed children is a masterclass in slow-building dread, playing on deep-seated human fears of the unnatural intruding upon the ordinary. It often begins in the most mundane of settings, a lonely stretch of road at night, the quiet of a suburban doorstep after dark, or the isolated comfort of a parked car, when suddenly the witness is approached by what appears to be a child or a group of children. At first glance, there's nothing overtly monstrous about them. They seem almost normal, save for a few unsettling details. Their clothing might be slightly off, perhaps outdated, too neat, or oddly formal for the hour or weather. Their skin is unnaturally pale, almost waxy, as if untouched by sunlight. They speak in a voice that is polite but hollow, their words measured and repetitive, like a script they've rehearsed. "Can you help me? I need a ride home. Please let me in. It's cold out here." What makes this moment so chilling is the slow realization that something is deeply wrong. The children don't behave like real kids. There's no fidgeting, no natural hesitation. Their tone is flat, their demeanor too calm, as if they're reciting lines rather than genuinely asking for help. And then there's the way they move, too still, too patient, standing just a little too close, their presence pressing in like a physical weight. Witnesses often describe an instinctive, almost primal fear creeping over them, a sense that their body is screaming at them to run before their mind even understands why. The air around the children feels charged, heavy, as if reality itself is resisting their presence. Some report a strange static noise, a buzzing in the ears, or an unnatural silence that swallows up the normal sounds of the night. And then, just as the witness is about to respond, perhaps to offer help, perhaps to refuse, the child looks up. That's when the eyes are revealed. The moment is a gut punch of horror, the kind that lingers in nightmares. The eyes are entirely black, no whites, no irises, just endless voids where eyes should be. It's the confirmation that this is no lost child, no ordinary being. The polite request suddenly feels like a demand, the innocent facade now a grotesque mask. The initial encounter is so effective because it starts with something familiar, a stranger asking for help, and twists it into something deeply unnatural. It preys on our instinct to protect children while simultaneously triggering our subconscious fear of the uncanny. By the time the black eyes are revealed, the witness is already trapped in the horror of the moment, realizing too late that they've stumbled into something far beyond their understanding. The first moments of a black-eyed children encounter unfold with a deceptive normalcy, a carefully constructed illusion meant to disarm before the horror reveals itself. It begins in the liminal spaces of the modern world, those quiet, in-between places where the mind already whispers that something isn't quite right. A dimly lit parking garage after hours, a deserted country road where the trees press in too close, the front porch of a home, the warm light inside a stark contrast to the unnatural dark gathering at the threshold. Then, movement. A figure steps forward, small, hunched, the silhouette of a child. At first, the witness feels relief. Just a kid, lost maybe, or in trouble. But the relief curdles as the details register. The child is alone, but there's no sign of a parent, no frantic calling. The clothes are wrong, too neat, too generic, like something pulled from an old photograph. A hoodie, perhaps, but the fabric doesn't rustle as they move. Jeans, but the cuffs are slightly too long, dragging on the ground without sound. The voice, when it comes, is the first true warning. It's too measured, too deliberate. A real child's voice wavers, excited, scared, impatient. This voice is flat, almost bored, yet dripping with an undercurrent of need. "Sir, you have to let me in." Not a request, not quite a demand. A a statement of fact, as if the outcome is already decided. The child steps closer, and the air changes. A metallic taste blooms in the mouth. The scent of ozone, like the moment before lightning strikes. The witness's skin prickles, a subconscious reaction to something their rational mind hasn't processed yet. The child's hands are visible now, pale, too smooth, the fingers just a fraction too long. They don't fidget. They don't shiver, even in the cold. They just stand there, waiting, their heads slightly tilted, as if listening to something the witness can't hear. And then, the eyes. The moment stretches, the brain refusing to accept what it's seeing. The eyes aren't just dark, they're voids, pits of infinite blackness where light goes to die. There's no reflection, no depth, nothing to suggest a living thing behind them. And yet, the witness feels watched, studied, known in a way that makes the stomach clench. The polite facade cracks just for an instant, and something hungry peers out. The child smiles then, a slow, deliberate stretching of lips that don't quite move right. "Please," they say, and the word hangs in the air, thick as smoke. "We'll die out here." It's the "we" that chills the blood. Because now, shadows shift at the edge of vision. Small forms, standing just beyond the light. Waiting. Watching. The moment of realization does not come all at once. It creeps in like a slow poison, a dawning horror that begins as a flicker of unease before erupting into full-blown dread. At first, the witness notices only small things. The way the child's face seems just a little too still, the unnatural smoothness of their skin, like wax left too long in the sun. Their gaze feels heavy, weighted, as if their stare alone could press against your chest and steal your breath. Then, the eyes. It happens when the light shifts. Maybe the glow of a street lamp catches their face, or the witness leans forward, squinting against the dark. The child looks up, and the world tilts. The eyes are not merely dark. They are wrong. The sclera, the whites, are gone, replaced by an endless, depthless black. No iris, no pupil, no reflection of light. Just two pits of perfect void, as if someone had scooped out the eyes and left behind something that only mimics the shape of human sight. The longer you look, the more your brain rebels, insisting that eyes don't work this way, that this is a thing beyond nature, beyond reason. And yet, the worst part isn't the eyes themselves, it's the way the child knows you've seen them. A flicker of something passes over their face, not fear, not anger, but something colder, more calculating. The polite mask slips, just for an instant, and in that moment, you glimpse the truth. This is not a lost child. This is not even a child at all. The air grows thick, charged with a static hum that buzzes in your teeth. Your pulse pounds in your throat, your muscles locking in primal recognition. Predator, predator, predator. The child's lips part, and their voice, when it comes, is the same flat, polite tone as before, but now it drips with something darker. You see now, don't you? The question hangs in the air, a taunt and a threat. The black eyes bore into you, and a terrible understanding dawns. They want you to see. They want you to know. Because fear, true fear, is the key. It's the crack in the door, and they are so very close to stepping inside. The moment the witness truly sees the eyes is never instantaneous. It begins with a nagging discomfort, a subconscious itch at the back of the skull that whispers, something is wrong here. At first, the witness might dismiss it as a trick of the light. Perhaps the child's face is shadowed, or their own vision is blurred by fatigue. But then the child moves just so, or the witness shifts their gaze, and the truth crashes over them like a wave of ice water. The eyes are not simply dark, they are consuming. Where there should be white, there is only an endless, lightless black. A darkness so complete it seems to swallow the very air around it. No pupil, no iris, no reflective gleam, just two bottomless pools that stare with an intelligence far older than the child's face suggests. The longer the witness looks, the more the eyes appear to deepen, as if they aren't merely observing, but drinking in the sight before them. Some report seeing faint movements in that blackness, distant shapes shifting like figures seen through smoked glass, or the suggestion of something vast and terrible moving just beyond perception. The child's expression doesn't change. That's what makes it worse. A human child's face is a canvas of emotion, flickering, shifting, alive. But this thing wears its borrowed face like a poorly fitted mask. The mouth might be smiling, but the muscles around those black voids remain eerily still. When it blinks, if it blinks at all, the eyelids close over the darkness with mechanical precision, like shutters sliding over the windows of an abandoned house. As the realization takes hold, the air itself seems to thicken. Witnesses describe a sudden pressure in their ears as if descending rapidly in altitude, accompanied by a high-pitched whine just at the edge of hearing. The scent of something metallic and old, like rain on long cold iron, fills the nose. The body's primal instincts scream in unison, run, hide. This is not of your world. Yet the feet remain rooted. The voice catches in the throat, because in that moment of horrific revelation, another truth becomes terrifyingly clear. They knew you would look. The polite requests, the carefully constructed appearance, the strategic positioning just at the edge of light, all of it was designed to lead to this exact moment. The black eyes aren't an accidental feature. They're the point. They're the hook. And now that you've seen them, they've seen you. Really seen you. Those fathomless voids have measured you, weighed your fear, and found it interesting. The child's head tilts slightly, almost curiously, as it watches the terror unfold across your face. When it speaks again, its voice carries a new undercurrent, something ancient and hungry, wearing the cadence of a child's speech, like ill-fitting clothes. Now you understand, it says, and the words seem to slither directly into your brain, bypassing your ears entirely. Now we can really talk. Behind it, the shadows begin to move. Shapes that might be other children, or might be something else entirely, all with the same endless, hungry darkness where their eyes should be, all waiting for their turn to be invited in. The moment after the black eyes are revealed is when the world itself seems to fracture. What began as an unsettling encounter now spirals into something far more sinister, a confrontation with the unnatural that gnaws at the edges of sanity. The air becomes thick, charged with an electric unease, like the heavy silence before a storm breaks. The witness's breath comes shallow, their heartbeat a frantic drum against their ribs, as if their body already knows what their mind refuses to accept. This is not a child. This is something wearing a child's skin. The politeness of the initial request curdles into something far more insistent. The voice, once flat and monotone, now carries an undercurrent of menace, a razor blade hidden beneath velvet. "You need to let us in," the thing says, and the words land like a command, not a plea. The tone suggests that refusal is not just rude, it's dangerous. Some witnesses report a distortion in the air around the children, a wavering like heat haze, as if reality itself struggles to contain their presence. Others describe a sudden, inexplicable cold, a chill that has nothing to do with the weather, the kind that seeps into bones and lingers. The children's movements become more deliberate, more predatory. If they were standing at a distance before, now they step closer, their advance unhurried but relentless. Their posture is all wrong, too stiff, too controlled, like puppets guided by unseen strings. Their heads tilt at unnatural angles, their black eyes unblinking, fixed with a terrible intensity. The witness might try to rationalize, to tell themselves this is just a prank, a trick of the light, but the primal part of their brain screams in protest. Run, fight, do anything but stand there. And then the whispers begin. Not from the children's mouths. Those remain still, their lips sealed in that eerie, placid expression. But from the edges of perception, a susurrus of voices, too low to decipher, coming from nowhere and everywhere at once. Some hear weeping, others hear laughter. Some hear their own name, spoken in the voice of a long-dead loved one. The words slither into the mind, unwelcome, invasive, as if the thing before them is not just speaking but probing, searching for the right fear to exploit. The children's requests grow more desperate, more unnerving. "We're so cold," they say, but their skin is dry, untouched by wind or rain. "We just want to go home," they plead, but their eyes gleam with something far older than childhood. The witness might notice with dawning horror that the children's shadows don't quite match their movements, that the shapes on the ground stretch too long, twist at impossible angles, or worse, move independently altogether. Time distorts. Seconds stretch into eternities. The witness's pulse roars in their ears, their muscles locked in paralyzing fear. The children are inches away now, their breath, if they breathe at all, smelling faintly of damp earth and something metallic. Their fingers, when they reach out, are too cold, too smooth. No fingerprints, no creases, just mannequin-perfect skin that doesn't feel real. And then, the final gut-churning realization. They're not asking anymore. The demand hangs in the air, unspoken but deafening. The witness's own home, their car, their safe space, it suddenly feels flimsy, inconsequential, as if the only thing keeping the nightmare at bay is their weakening will. The children's mouths part slightly, not in a smile, but in something far more unsettling, an expression of anticipation. They know they've won. They know the fear has taken root, and they're just waiting for the moment the witness's resolve finally cracks. The air curdles around you, thick with the scent of ozone and something older, wet earth, rusted iron, the stale musk of a long-closed tomb. Your breath comes in shallow gasps now, each one burning in your chest like you're inhaling ground glass. The children haven't moved, not exactly, yet somehow they're closer than they were a moment ago. Their stillness is all wrong, not the fidgety pause of real children, but the perfect predatory patience of a spider at the center of its web. Their voices slither into your ears, no longer bothering with the pretense of human speech patterns. The words come layered now, a chorus of whispers that vibrate in your teeth, some sounding like children, others like something imitating children badly. "Let us in," they sigh, but beneath it you hear the scrape of claws on stone, the wet click of too many teeth. The request loops like a broken record, each repetition stripping away another layer of your resistance. Your vision tunnels. The edges of the world darken, as if the very light is being drained away, leaving only those terrible black eyes floating in the gloom. They pulse slightly, those voids, expanding and contracting like they're breathing you in. Your skin crawls with the unbearable sense of being known, not just seen, but dissected, your deepest fears laid bare before these things. A new sound cuts through the whispers, a wet, organic crunching from just behind the children. The darkness there moves wrong, bulging and splitting like rotten fruit swelling with maggots. Shapes begin to press forward from the nothingness. More small figures. Dozens now. Their outlines blurring at the edges as if reality can't quite decide what they should be. Their hands rise in unison, pale fingers glistening with something that isn't quite moisture. The temperature plummets. Your breath fogs in the suddenly arctic air, each exhalation hanging frozen before your face. The cold isn't natural. It's the deep, marrow-numbing chill of the grave, of places where sunlight has never touched. Frost flowers across nearby surfaces in impossible patterns, forming symbols that hurt your eyes to follow. Worst of all is the dawning realization that this has happened before. The children's words take on a terrible familiarity, as if you've had this exact conversation in countless nightmares you've somehow forgotten upon waking. Their mannerisms, the cadence of their speech, it all feels rehearsed, practiced through endless repetitions with other frightened souls who stood where you now stand. Your body betrays you. Your bladder loosens. Saliva floods your mouth with the coppery tang of impending vomit. Some deep, primal part of your brain is screaming in a language older than words, triggering survival instincts buried in your DNA. But your limbs won't obey. You're trapped in that most ancient of nightmares, the one where you can't run, can't scream, can't do anything but stand helpless as the horror closes in. The lead child's mouth stretches into something that isn't a smile. The skin around its lips tears slightly at the corners, revealing glimpses of blackened gums and needle-thin teeth that extend too far back. When it speaks again, its voice is layered with something vast and echoing. "We're so very cold," it says, and in that moment you understand with terrible clarity that it's not lying. It's offering you a preview of your own future. "Won't you let us in?" Behind it, the other figures begin to sway in unison, their movements synchronized like reeds in a foul wind. Their chant rises to a crescendo that vibrates in your bones, a sound that bypasses your ears entirely to resonate directly in the meat of your brain. The pressure builds until you're certain your skull will burst from the inside. And then, mercifully, your knees give way. As you collapse to the ground, the last thing you see before darkness claims you is the children stepping forward in perfect unison, their arms outstretched not in pleading, but in welcome. They already know your answer. They've always known. The moment comes when instinct overrides reason, when every cell in your body screams that to say yes would be to surrender something far more precious than your safety. Your voice cracks as you force out the word, "No." The air itself seems to recoil. For a heartbeat, nothing moves. The black-eyed children stand frozen, their faces slack with something that isn't surprise, because whatever they are, surprise is beyond them. It's more like the stillness of a predator that has never been denied before. Then, with terrible slowness, their mouths begin to stretch, not into smiles, into ruptures. The polite child voices die in their throats. What emerges instead is a sound like radio static mixed with breaking bones, a noise that bypasses your ears to vibrate directly in your jawbone. The shadows around them deepen, twisting into shapes that hurt to look at, angles all wrong for this world. Their fingers elongate, the nails darkening into something chitinous and sharp. "You shouldn't have done that," they chorus, and now their voices are layered, children's tones over something vast and ancient. The words leave bruises on your mind. You stumble back, and the world tears. Streetlights flicker into strobe light madness. The ground beneath you feels suddenly unstable, as if you're standing on the skin of a great beast stirring from sleep. The children, no, The things wearing children's skins begin circling, their movements jerky and insectile. One reaches for you, and where its fingers brush your arm, the flesh burns with a cold that seeps straight to the bone. Then, silence. They're gone, just like that. No puff of smoke, no dramatic vanishing. One moment they're there, the next they're not, leaving only the imprint of their horror on your retinas. The air smells of burnt hair and wet soil. Your body shakes with adrenaline, your skin prickling with the aftermath of their touch. You tell yourself it's over, but it isn't. That night, you wake to the sound of fingernails dragging down your bedroom window. Your phone lights up with calls from blocked numbers. When you answer, all you hear is wet breathing and that awful layered whisper, "We're right outside." In mirrors, your reflection sometimes blinks a second too slow. Your dreams are no longer yours. They're corridors full of small, shuffling figures, all reaching, all repeating the same phrase, "You should have let us in." Weeks pass. The encounters grow bolder. A small handprint appears on your front door, blackened as if burned there. Your pets refuse to go near certain rooms. You start finding clumps of damp earth on your floors, though no one has tracked it inside. The children never appear again in full, only glimpses, a pale face at the edge of your vision, a shadow that moves when shadows shouldn't. And the worst part? You'll never know if saying yes would have been worse, because now, every night when you lock your doors, you hear the faintest scrape of something testing the latch, waiting, learning, coming back smarter next time. The word leaves your lips like a death sentence. No. For one suspended heartbeat, the world holds its breath. The black-eyed children don't react, not at first. Their faces remain frozen in those terrible almost smiles, their void-like eyes drinking in your terror like wine. Then, with agonizing slowness, their heads tilt in perfect unison. Bone cracks audibly as their necks bend too far, the sound wet and grinding like a butcher separating joints. The air curdles around them, shadows stretch like taffy, elongating into impossible shapes that twist your stomach to witness. Their mouths open, too wide, jaws unhinging with a series of pops, and what emerges isn't language anymore. It's a frequency, a vibration that makes your teeth ache and your nose bleed. The sound doesn't just enter your ears, it squirms beneath your skin, vibrating your marrow. You try to run, but your legs won't obey. Your muscles lock in paralytic terror as the children's forms begin to distort. Their limbs elongate, fingers stretching into boneless tendrils that brush against your cheeks with the dry, papery texture of a corpse left in the desert. Where they touch, your flesh erupts in goosebumps that don't fade. Hours later, you'll still find those patches of skin icy to the touch, resistant to warmth. Then, silence. They're gone. But the absence is worse. In the coming days, reality develops gaps. You wake with mud caked under nails you don't remember dirtying. Your reflection blinks a second after you do. Food rots prematurely in your fridge, crawling with maggots hours after purchase. Your digital clocks all display 3:33 a.m. for exactly 1 minute each night, regardless of when you reset them. Night brings the whispers. At first, you tell yourself it's the wind, then the house settling, then your imagination. But when you wake to find child-sized handprints frost-etched on your bedroom mirror, each fingertip ending in a too long, claw-like impression, the lies stop comforting you. Security footage shows nothing, yet each morning reveals fresh evidence. A chair pulled up to your bedside, tiny teeth marks in the butter left out to soften, the overwhelming scent of wet earth and copper. The final horror comes when you realize they're not trying to get in anymore. They're already inside. The black-eyed children don't need your permission now. Your refusal broke some ancient rule, shattered some cosmic courtesy, and whatever waits in the dark corners of your home, the thing that mimics the sound of a child's laughter from empty rooms, that leaves puddles of black water where no pipes run, isn't the same as what first came knocking. It's angrier, it's hungrier, and it's learning how to wear your face. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next one. Bye for now.